Welcome to another edition of Motherland. Do like and subscribe in order to help us produce more contents. The idea of a deity in Yoruba land is a deep one tied to religion and culture, but the ancestors, being wise, sometimes deliberately let their progenitor, into one open secret, that most of the gods were once human, and being human, were subject to human frailties. This is why two things in approaching those I look up to as God are important. Firstly, for me, they must be dead, and secondly, I like to see the frailty of their humanity. Death is the final transmutation of humanity to deity, because at the point, actions are balanced. Upon death, the deity can no longer make any mistake, and so is then safe to worship them as endlessly as the worshippers like. Although I don't go that far personally, their humanity is also important to me. Because I'm human, it lets me know that I too can become great. I make no secret of the fact that if anyone is a god in my eyes, it is BOLA IGE. And BOLA IGE was human. I always end stories about him by saying BOLA IGE was just a man, but oh, what a man. It is deliberate because I'm aware of his frailty as a human. I know his flaws. I've found the idea of national heroes being without flaws a bit uncomfortable for a while now. That moment someone comes up as a hero, there are those who will come up with their feelings. And I would thought to address this in regards to IGE on his death memorial this year. On the other hand are those who hold up those heroes as men who somehow are so beyond humanity that somehow human emotions were a stranger to them from birth, and making mistake or doing wrong was never a part of their lives while on this plane. Something occurred though which has prompted this IGE story a bit sooner, and I shall get to it shortly. IGE to me is in that rare class of men like Shango who transmuted into deity after they died. IGE had his own flaws though, and also had strengths, many of them. Ironically, IGE's big strength was also his big flaw, and that was his tongue. He was an orator but had a caustic tongue. In a televised debate in 1979 versus Richard Akinjide of the UPN, IGE was praising the free education policy of Awolowo. When Akinjide interjected, Akinjide said that the free education policy of Awolowo had only produced thieves and robbers. IGE immediately responded that since Akinjide's family members had also benefited from it, how many of them were now thieves and robbers? Akinjide stormed out of the live debate. IGE, at the UPN party meeting a year to the end of his tenure, wondered strategically and said declaratively that there was no Ibadan indigene who would be able to challenge him in the next election. The statement was not born of malice, but political analysts, unlikely opponents. IGE haters, however, took the statement out of context and went to town saying that IGE had said that no Ibadan indigene was fit to be governor for your state. Ibadan quickly rallied and presented a number of aspirants from who Omololu Oluloye emerged as MPN candidates. Here again, for a long time while growing up, I believed that IGE did not lose the election in 1983, but digging more into the history of that time, I see now that it is very likely that IGE and the UPN indeed lost the August 1987 gubernatorial election to Oluloye and the MPN. IGE had lost key supporters including the enforcer Bashiru Adelakun, aka Erobodo, his deputy governor SM Afolabi, and others like his finance commissioner Abiola Murakinyo were practically working for the opposition candidates. Murakinyo even had dreams that Oluloye won. In any case, BOLA IGE was announced by Fideco as having lost the election, and he proceeded to Radio Oyo to make a broadcast. In that extemporaneous speech of which nobody has a copy but many remembered, IGE made a statement considered afterwards as inciting. IGE said, "Ẹ̀yin ará Ọ̀yọ́, ṣé ibi tí ẹ dìbò fún mi rèé? Tí kò bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀, ẹ ṣé wọ́n bí ọṣẹ sí níṣẹ́ ojú." Apologies for my Yoruba is not fluent. Meaning, Oyo indigene, is this how you voted? If it is not, treat them as soap treats the eyes. Violence followed in Oyo and Ondo, with many dying in both states before it ended. It was in response to his speech that on August 15, 1983, Chief A.M.A. Akinloye went on television in Lagos and accused BOLA of inciting Oyo youths to violence while his own children were abroad. Political scholar Richard Joseph recorded this in one of his books. While on the campaign trail, IGE several times took jabs at his political opponent by telling the crowd, "It shall not be well with your one-finger fathers." A clear jab at members of the MPN who use a raised single finger as symbol. This is the reason that prompted the story to show that those we worship were not always perfect but are still gods. IGE is a god who needs no exaggeration to be considered great by many of us, and he never hid himself or what you may call flaws from his followers. I'm not sure, in fact, that I've ever heard that word caustic used more in connection with anyone's tongue more frequently than it was used in connection with IGE's. He wasn't the tame puppy. There is nothing political that was ever strange or unheard of to politicians, past, present or future. We hold on to our heroes, but we do not falsely ascribe strange attributes to them to make them look bigger. This year, 2023, I look forward to celebrating IGE in December, but we will look at his political flaws, never to degrade him, but to show that any of us, human and flawed, can become a god as he now is, in my eyes and in my heart. This is where we stop on today's edition of Motherland. Please do like and subscribe in order for us to produce more content. See you again in our next edition of Motherland.